Let's start with the bourse. Do you think it's a caution-driven market?
Thank you, Fenly, for having me. Fenly, we're beginning to see the bourse opening on a positive note this week, or rather closing on a positive note this week, a little below 1%. From the loss of last week, we're beginning to see some gains coming into the market. So I would say, yeah, it's a bit of some slight cautious positive sentiments coming back into the market, Fenly.
But what would you say is driving market at the moment?
Well, basically, I would say for last week you had those reversals coming into the market as a result of the lifting of the suspension of Bank PHP and Spring Bank, and which mainly drove the market, or some company results that came in, and also the general sentiments of take profits from the previous gains that happened the previous week and the start of last week. So we're beginning to see some people coming into the market now, much on a calmer note, actually looking at the market basis and beginning to say, yeah, there's some good entry points for us, and we want to take advantage of it right now, Fenly.
Well, now let's take a look at the Naira. Banking system credit to the economy grew by about 10.6%. How has this affected the market?
Sorry, Fenly, you have to give me that question again.
Well, the banking credit system, it has increased by about 10.6%. How do you think it'll affect the market going forward and the currency?
Well, on the credit side, yeah, there might have been some reported increase, but really it's the general sentiment. Generally, it's more like manufacturers still complain that there's a lower in credit. It's not as it was before. It wasn't as active as it was before. So really, I think generally banks trading on a conscious note on the credit side in the market right now. But I mean, it's a positive news, it's a good news. I mean, it shows the more willingness of banks to open up credit lines for customers, the more willingness for what the government actually wanted to do by stimulating the economy. It shows that really such moves that has come in by the government would actually translate into the real sector, which is what their stimulus package is supposed to address, and of course we expect to see the turnaround that the package will bring into the market. On the other side, we expect that I mean, with the amount of liquidity that the government is putting into the country, into the economy right now, we expect that you have the rates tempered. I mean, the rates on the single digits for most of the time, bearing any other risk factor that might come into the market. But outside of that, we expect the interest rates to be on the low side, and also on the basis of this, we expect that more people will be willing to would have access to the credit, and it wouldn't be an expensive rate. Fenly.
Well, talking about capital injection, we're seeing inflows of about 350 billion Naira going into the three tiers of government. Do you think this will ease the liquidity concern currently, or do you see another capital injection coming forth?
Well, it has actually eased the liquidity concerns currently in the market. I mean, the market, basically the interest rates are down on the lower 5% band, and which is obviously a good news. But we must not diverse the fact that our country currently is on the shorter term of the market, so we expect to see such liquidity cycle lasting, or such a low interest rate lasting on the shorter end. I mean, shorter end takes to like 30-45 days period. Going straight beat into the 60-day period. But outside of that, on the shorter end, like I mentioned earlier, we would expect to see that liquidity will stay in the market, and of course it will continue to see interest rates at these low levels, Fenly.
And what's the outlook for the Naira?
On the Naira side, we saw some appreciation on the close of the Naira for last week against the dollar. We actually saw the market net on net, it wasn't so much of an appreciation, but from a highs of about 152 in the mid last week, closing at 149 90 figure, and opening this week we expect a more like a sideways trading for most of this week. Our take as traders will be basically on the back of the central bank activities. I mean, most of our foreign exchange demands are driven mainly by client demands and customer requests, and the CBN window actually gives us an indication of what this customer requests and client demands are basically in.
And how liquid is the Forex market currently?
Currently, the forex market will see a little bit of liquidity. We've got some flows that actually came into the country for last week. We expect some oil companies to actually come into the market also in the coming days. So we think that with the central bank and the bid of oil flows coming to the market, we do not expect to see any surprises on the currency side. So we'll say, yeah, fairly liquid, friendly on the currency side for now.